Welcome to lecture 18 of Fundamentals of Materials Processing Part 2. In this module of thin film deposition, and in this lecture we will discuss kinetics of thin film growth. In the previous lecture we had discussed how thermodynamic aspects have lead to different type of morphology of thin film and different thin film growth modes. And in this we will discuss more about rates of thin film growth, and the effect of temperature and deposition rate on the morphology. Okay. So, to start with, we will first discuss nucleation rate. So, nucleation dependence on two things. One is deposition rate, okay, and second temperature, and this is the temperature of the substrate, okay, substrate temperature. It is not the source or where the species being deposited is coming from. It is from the substrate on which this thin film is being deposited. Okay. Let us first define deposition rate as R dot, okay, and this is my deposition rate. It can be in nanometers per unit time or angstrom per unit time. So, deposition rate, okay, or number of atoms per unit area per unit time being deposited, okay, and we should realize that this should be equal proportional to PV, which is the partial pressure of that species in the vapor phase. So, my PV is the partial pressure of depositing species in vapor phase. Okay. So, this is going to be proportional. So, if we increase, like for example, for thermal evaporation, if we increase the source temperature, then we will have more of the source material in the vapor phase, and since and then hence PV will increase and the deposition rate will increase. Okay. So, this is the dependence. Okay. We also can say that delta GV, the change in free energy due to phase transition from vapor phase to film phase. Okay. Now, this film phase we are not defining as either solid or liquid, because it is a different phase, because a few atoms, if they are coming from vapor phase to surface, we cannot define them as either as liquid or solid. So, they are just few atoms, okay, which are being adsorbed. So, just the phase transition from being in the vapor phase or being adsorbed on the surface. So, that is the phase transition, and this we can write as PV. Okay. So, this is the change in free energy for phase change, where omega is atomic volume. Okay. So, volume of one atom, that is why this is per unit volume, and PV we have already defined. PS is my the vapor pressure of the species just above the thin film. Okay. Okay. Let me describe these various factors pictorially. So, if this is my substrate, okay, and this is my atom being deposited. Okay. So, PV is somewhere here in the vapor phase, okay, which will drive the deposition of these atoms or adsorption of these atoms onto the surface, while Ps is the vapor pressure of this species just above this, okay, and if this is small, it will derive desorption. Okay. So, it is an interplay between adsorption and desorption, which is represented in this form, okay. And we can also write this term in terms of rates, as because since deposition rate is proportional to this PV and the evaporation rate, okay, that we had discussed earlier when we were discussing thermal evaporation of a source, that how does it depend on the vapor pressure of that species, okay. So, this is my evaporation rate. So, R dot is the deposition rate, R E dot is the equilibrium evaporation rate from nucleus, okay. So, we can call that this is a nucleus and this is the evaporation rate, okay. Now, for simplicity, we can also assume that my substrate is inert, okay. So, basically what we are saying that gamma Fs between film and substrate is same as gamma Fv, okay. This is an assumption, okay, to carry forward our calculation, okay. Now, when we put this delta GV in the form of R dot and RE dot in our previous equation of delta G, right. If you recall, we had an expression of delta G as a function of radius delta GV and gamma Fs, gamma Fv and gamma Sv contact angle theta, right. So, we had this function which we had discussed in the previous lecture. So, we replace delta GV in that by this, okay. And now we also know that and then we can calculate from thermodynamics that d delta G over dr should be equal to 0 and then R would be R critical, right. So, we can calculate R critical in terms of delta GV. Now, what we want to discuss here is how this R star depends on temperature, okay. What is the critical size of nucleus which will be stable if we change the substrate temperature, okay. So, and for this we are keeping the deposition rate as constant, okay. So, deposition rate is constant, we are looking at how the critical radius above which my nucleus becomes stable is going to change with temperature. So, if we solve this from the expression of critical radius, we will get an expression which is gamma Fv d delta Gv over gamma T minus A1 plus A2 delta Gv delta gamma Fv over T divided by A3 delta Gv square, okay. This is a complicated term and it also involves change in these surface energy with temperature and also change in volumetric free energy with temperature, okay. Now, what we can say for typical values of d delta G over del T and d gamma Fv over del T, what we will get that this function dr star over dt at a constant rate of deposition is more than 0. Okay. So, this is a positive quantity. Okay. Similarly, if we calculate the this delta G star, which was the energy barrier for a nucleus to be stable with respect to temperature, we will see, and again this is at constant deposition rate, this will be greater than 0. Okay. So, let us call it 1A and 1B. Okay. Now, we can carry out the same exercise at a constant temperature, but differentiation with respect to deposition rate. So, if we do that, then we will get dr star over dr change in the size of critical radius of stable nuclei with deposition rate at a constant temperature, and this will be less than 0. Okay. Similarly, we can calculate the energy barrier with respect to temperature is less than 0. We can call them 2A and 2B. Okay. Now, in the next few slides we will discuss how do these affect our thin film properties, morphology basically. Okay. So, this inequality says, okay, let me I have to write this again here. dr critical over dt at a constant rate is greater than 0 means that if I increase the temperature, so if temperature increases, my R star also increases. Okay. So, for a stable nuclei we will need larger critical radius. Okay. And similarly, so let me write this in terms in words here, larger nucleus or nuclei will be stable at higher temperature. So, what would happen to the smaller nuclei? They will go back to vapor phase, okay, at higher temperature if the substrate temperature is higher. Okay. Now, the second inequality was GV star over dt at constant rate greater than 0. Okay. So, which means energy barrier for nucleation is high, right. So, energy barrier, so if the temperature increases, delta G V star will increase. Okay. If the energy barrier is increased, which means less number of stable nuclei. Okay. So, this means less number of stable nuclei at higher temperature. Okay. If I keep the deposition rate or rate at which the atoms and molecules are coming to the surface constant. Okay. So, combining these two, you can say if you keep the deposition rate constant, deposition rate constant, which is R dot, and increasing substrate temperature, okay, increasing substrate temperature will result in less number of large nuclei. Okay. So, less number of large nuclei. Okay. And if you keep the growth of the film constant, then these nuclei, these less number of large nuclei will grow and form film. Okay. Let us discuss the other part also. If so, this is from this, and if we decrease substrate temperature, okay, then you can see from this these expressions or inequalities, the reverse will be true, and you will get large number of smaller nuclei. Okay. So, now this is the initiation phase of your morphology. So, you can have a distinguish between the two. Okay. So, suppose each atom that joins these nuclei assumes the structure of that nuclei, then there will be large variation in the structure, because you have large number of smaller nuclei which will grow. In this case, you have less number of nuclei which will grow. Okay. So, there is a difference between the morphology. Okay. Now, let us discuss the other part also. dr critical over dr, if we change the temperature, okay, so and this is less than 0. So, which means by increasing deposition rate, your R critical is going down. Okay. And similarly, d delta G star over deposition rate at constant temperature is less than 0, which means if you increase deposition rate, your delta G star is smaller. Okay. Now, what it means for the thin film? It means since critical radius is smaller, so smaller nuclei will be stable. Okay. And this would mean that since this delta G star, sorry, this is not GV, okay, my mistake, this is not GV. Okay. So, this delta G star will be lower, which means large number of nucleation. Okay. Now, so if you increase deposition rate, you will have large number of small nuclei. If you decrease deposition rate, you will have a small number of large nuclei. Okay. So, if we combine these two factors, this part 1 and part 2, we can have different form of morphology. Okay. Now, we will discuss two extreme terms in which suppose if I keep, so case 1, I keep my temperature low and deposition rate high. Okay. So, let us see what kind of film it will result in. If we go back here, so temperature low means large number of smaller nuclei. Deposition rate high also means large number of smaller nuclei. Okay. So, large number of smaller nuclei. Okay. These will form in the initial phases and these nuclei will grow. Okay. In extreme cases, this will, so it will lead to polycrystalline material. Okay. Because each nucleus will have a different crystal orientation, okay, and which will grow. So, the overall material will have a polycrystalline nature. Okay. In extreme, it will also lead to amorphous structure or amorphous material. Okay. Now, when an atom arrives at a surface, it will try to find a suitable site where it gets adsorbed to reduce its energy. Okay. And the best part would be when it finds a site which belongs to its unit cell. Okay. Because unit cell has the minimum energy for that. Okay. But it has to migrate on the surface to be able to find a suitable site. But if the temperature is low, it will not be able to migrate to a large distance. Okay. Also, while it's migrating, its migration should not be hindered by anything till it finds a suitable site. But if my deposition rate is high, then by the time it finds a suitable site, one atom, there are many more atoms or molecules which are being deposited, right. So, which will hinder its movement. Okay. So, it will start to form its own nuclei or its own nucleus, which will have a different crystal structure orientation with respect to other nuclei, because they are growing independently, right. And if there are large number of such nucleus growing, then we will have polycrystalline material. Or if even it does not have time to assume any crystal structure, if the deposition rate is very high or the temperature of deposition or substrate temperature is very low, that it cannot move at all, then it will result in amorphous structure. Okay. So, this is one extreme example, okay, where both temperature and deposition rate result in polycrystalline material or fine grained. Okay. Each nucleus is growing, right, and there are so many nuclei, which means the morphology will be very fine grained, okay, rather than coarse grained. Okay. Let us discuss case 2. Okay. Now, it is the case 2 is the extreme opposite of this, in which temperature is high, substrate temperature, and deposition rate is very low. Okay. And from my previous discussion, if temperature is high, less number of large nuclei, and if deposition rate is low, then again small number of large nuclei, opposite of this. Okay. So, both will tend to have a small number of large nuclei. Okay. Again, it may result in a polycrystalline material, okay, but this polycrystalline material will be very coarse grained, okay, because you have small number, only few of these nuclei. Each nucleus has a preferred crystal orientation, okay, but only these are growing. Okay. So, a small number of large nucleus. So, these are large and they are growing, but the number is small. So, each grain which comes from each of the nucleus will form one grain, and it will be a very coarse grained structure. Okay. Now, similar to this case, if we take it to the other extreme, it will result in single crystal or epitaxial growth. How does this happen? If your temperature is very high and your deposition rate is very slow, so each atom which is coming to the surface will move on the surface, surface migration, surface diffusion, because higher temperature diffusivity will be high, it will be able to travel long distance to find a suitable site. Okay. And suitable site is what will lead to formation of single crystal, because single crystalline material will minimize its energy. Okay. If we give high temperature, and since the deposition rate is also slow, so the number of atoms which are coming to surface is very small per unit time. So, each atom or molecule finds a suitable position, and the suitable position is where it forms a single crystal, or if it can prefer, it will form an epitaxial deposition on the, if my substrate is also crystalline. Okay. And their crystal structures of the substrate and the thin film are matched easily. Okay. So, these are the two different regimes in which you can deposit your thin films, and you can control your morphology of the thin film by controlling substrate temperature and deposition rate. Okay. All right. Let us also discuss different. So, this is about nucleation, still about nucleation. What would be the form of nucleus, and now this will grow. How these nuclei will grow, we will discuss in this part. Okay. So, we will discuss kinetic processes in nucleation and growth of these nuclei to form thin film. Okay. Now, we have already discussed nucleation rate. So, there are two aspects, one is nucleation rate and second aspect is nuclei growth. Okay. So, how fast my different nuclei are forming is called nucleation rate, and this can be given by n star. Okay. It's equal to ns exponent of minus delta G star over kBT. Okay. Now, in this n star is density of stable nuclei, ns is density of total nucleation sites, and delta G star is the energy barrier for a stable nuclei, right. So, this density of stable nuclei will depend on this. Okay. So, and the rate at which these stable nuclei will form will also depend on this. Okay. Now, this nucleation, the growth of these nuclei will happen in two ways. One is direct impingement of atoms on nucleus, okay, and second is addition of add atoms to a nucleus. Okay. Now, let me define these two things pictorially. So, if I have a substrate on which I have a stable nuclei now, okay, suppose this is my stable nuclei. So, either add atoms can directly impinge on this and get added to this, or these can come here and this may diffuse on the surface and get added to it. Okay. These are the two processes in which this nuclei will grow. Okay. Now, if this process happen, it will be added to it, because by adding this atom or molecule to this nucleus, the overall energy will be reduced, because we are past this energy barrier, right. So, addition of each and every atom to this nuclei will reduce its energy further. However, when this atom is adsorbed on the surface and it is moving towards this nuclei, it may also get a chance to dissolve. It may go back to vapor phase if it is not being able to find a stable nuclei within some time period. Okay. Now, what is this time period? Let us define this time period as tau s, which will be equal to 1 over mu exponential energy of desorption divided by kBT. Okay. Mu is the jump frequency. Okay. How many jumps this atoms make per unit time, which is typically of the order of 10 to power 13 per second. Okay. So, one atom makes 10 to power 13 seconds, 10 to power 13 jumps per second. Okay. Now, if the energy of desorption is very high, okay, so it will dissolve. So, this if this energy of desorption is high, then the time, this tau s, let me define, tau s is the time an atom spends on substrate surface before dissolving. Okay. So, you can say if this atom does not find a stable nuclei within this time period, it will go back to vapor phase. So, that is this timeline. Okay. And these atoms perform random jumps because they do not have any idea that there is a nucleus on one side or other side. So, there will be a random jump motion, and if they find an atom, sorry, a stable nuclei, they will get attached to it and reduce its overall energy. Okay. So, if it finds other atoms, not a stable nuclei, it may form another nucleus. Okay. And if in suitable time this nucleus becomes stable, then it will grow, otherwise it will go back to vapor phase. Okay. Now, the overall nucleation rate N we can define as N star, density of stable nuclei, A star, this is a critical area of the nuclei on which more atoms can get attached to, and omega, which is the rate of atom impingement on nuclei. Okay. So, the total nucleation rate will depend on this. Okay. Now, the number of Na, suppose I have this Ns density of total nucleation site, the Na sites will be occupied by add atoms, and this will depend on Ts, partial pressure, Na divided by 2 pi m r t. Okay. So, this is equal to impingement rate into time spent on surface. Okay. So, in this expression, this part is the impingement rate, at the rate my add atoms are impinging on the surface, and this is the tau as the time on average one add atom spends on surface before going to vapor phase. So, this will be my Na, which is the number of or density of occupied sites. Okay. So, we have these rates. Now, if I again, this is my substrate nucleus which makes angle theta, okay, and this is stable nucleus, okay, which makes an angle theta, and this is the distance r. Then the area of this A star will be equal to 2 pi r star, and this is my r star. A0, okay, A0 is the size of the atom, okay, sin theta, okay. So, this is the A0, which is the size of the atom. So, the total area for these add atoms to get attached onto this, okay, is given by this expression, okay, peripheral area over which, so 2 pi r is the perimeter of this 2 pi r star into A0 sin theta is the area over which these atoms after migration can get attached, okay. Now, so this is one part. We can also discuss surface diffusion, okay. Now, it is by jump, right. So, the diffusivity we can say it will be related to nu x minus surface diffusion energy divided by kBt, okay. This is surface diffusivity, okay. Now, the impingement rate omega is by either direct impingement or the surface diffusion. Okay. So, this is tau s P N A over 2 pi m R T into diffusivity x minus E s over k B T. Okay. Now, an atom travels approximately the diffusion length. Okay. So, it has certain time lifetime on the surface before it gets dissolved, and it has a certain diffusivity. So, the time it will spend, I mean the time or the distance it will travel in that time by surface diffusion can be given as equal to square root of 2 ds tau s, okay, where ds is the surface diffusivity. Okay. Now, again this will be equal to, we can write in the terms of ds is equal to 1 by 2 a0 square nu x minus Es over kBt. Okay. So, this is the surface diffusivity of atom. Okay. This is the surface diffusivity of the atom which is directly impinging on your nucleus. Okay. They are the two different terms, and this term is added in this. Okay. Now, there is also surface energy. So, it will so this is the ds term. Ts term involves the desorption energy. So, if we take into account both energies and we calculate x, if we use this expression for tau s and calculate this, we will get a0 x energy of desorption minus surface diffusion divided by 2 kBt. This will be my average distance, or we can call this nucleus capture radius, okay, which means that any stable nucleus, okay, will be able to capture, let me plot in this way, not sorry. So, if I have this top view of the surface and this is my stable nucleus, okay. So, from what area around it, it will be able to, if atoms are falling onto this, right, then only they will get attached to this. If they are falling outside this area, this nucleus is very far for them to travel before getting dissolved. Okay. So, this is the area, or you can say this is the nucleus capture radius. If there is a atom falling within this radius of the stable nuclei, then only this atom will be part of that thin film growth process, otherwise it will go back to vapor phase. Okay. Now, accounting for all of this, we can write the nucleation rate as 2 pi r star a0 sin theta. This is my area, this is my my omega, let me P and A over 2 pi m r t, okay, and tau s I can write in terms of energy, or n s x energy of desorption minus energy of surface diffusion minus delta G star divided by kB T. Okay. So, this expression will give me the nucleation rate, so rate of stable nuclei formation, and it depends on various energies and as well as pressure, temperature, and also the size of the radius, and this is the total nucleation site. Okay. Let me write this, n dot was equal to n star a star omega. okay, and this term delta G star comes from N star, okay, and A star terms is here and omega term is in this, okay. So, all these terms account for the nucleation rate, okay. Now, one more thing before we end this lecture. Now, these stable nuclei will have to form a thin film, they have to merge together or to form a thin film, okay. So, which we call cluster coalescence, okay. Now, each one of these is a stable nuclei, okay. Now, but they are growing separately. So, either these nuclei will wait till the there is another nuclei grows in between them and merges them over, or they can transport material between them such that one grows at the expense of other, or they get sintered, okay. So, there are three different processes by which it could happen. These processes are A, this is called Ostwald ripening, this is Ostwald ripening. B is sintering, and C is surface migration of small clusters, okay. So, in Ostwald ripening, the larger nuclei grows at the expense of smaller nuclei. What happens is that the atoms or molecules in a smaller nuclei have higher chemical potential or higher energy compared to the atoms or nuclei in a smaller or in a larger nuclei, okay, and this energy is per atom, okay. So, in order to reduce its overall energy, the atoms or molecules from the smaller nuclei will merge into the larger nucleus, and this the large nucleus will grow and these will cease to exist, okay. So, one large nuclear or several such large nuclei will grow in size and form the thin film, okay. That is one part. Second process is by sintering. So, if two nuclei of the similar size join each other, right, if they join each other, they will form a neck in between, and the shape of the neck is concave and this is convex, okay. So, it is shown that the energy of atoms on a convex surface is higher than on a concave surface. So, atoms will tend to move towards this neck region, okay, from both, and slowly they will fuse and form a one stable nuclei, okay, which is larger in size. So, this is how different nuclei merge together, okay. Also, small nuclei or clusters can by surface diffusion, this is a cluster of atoms moving together in by surface diffusion in any direction, it may find another larger cluster, and by either mass transport or sintering they will merge to become just one cluster, okay. So, these are the three different processes by which these clusters or stable nuclei will merge together to form a continuous thin film, okay. With this we will stop here. In the next lecture we will discuss how these different processes and different conditions give rise to different type of thin film morphologies, okay. Thank you very much.